We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavato Sahanau Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Viddhishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are seeing Panchadasi, chapter 4, and today we are going to start with the 43rd verse. We have finished 42 verses, and in this study, what we are trying to see is how can we understand Advaita principle with the help of Jiva Srishti and Ishwara Srishti. This is an area which is not normally touched upon in any major Upanishad as such. This methodology of trying to understand Brahman. Swami Vidyaranya is a great acharya, and he has got very innovative style of teaching. So this is one of his styles. This chapter with 7 topics, we have finished 4 topics. We are in the 5th topic now. And the central theme of this text, this chapter, is how to get rid of Dwaitam, which we all experience in our life. One of the fundamental principles of freedom, as expounded by Upanishads, is understanding Dwaitam and Advaitam. Dwaitam means I am the subject, I am seeing the world, experiencing the world. This concept of Dwaitam and Advaitam is very important when it comes to moksha. In our normal day-to-day world, in our Vyavaharika world, this concept doesn't really matter. What is Advaitam? What is Dwaitam? This doesn't matter because we are in the field of transactions. And in the field of transactions, it is always in Dwaitam. And Dwaitam means I am there and the world is there, and there is a difference between me and the world. For transactions, Dwaitam is important. We cannot get rid of Dwaitam. This you must be very clear in your mind. There is another state of Advaitam, which we all experience in the sleep state. What Vedanta tries to say is that state in which Advaitam is being experienced by all of us, you focus on that and try to understand the reality behind that Advaita principle. So that is why Avasthatrayam, the inquiry or vichara of Avasthatrayam in Mandukya Upanishad is very helpful in understanding Advaita philosophy. We have seen in this chapter Jiva Srishti and Ishwara Srishti. What is the cause of samsara is the question asked by Swami Vidyaranya. He's asking, why do jivas suffer? Jivas are suffering, as you know very well, because of law of karma. Our entire waking world is dependent on this fundamental principle of the law of karma, which means action gives results. Results are in the form of punyam and papam. In order to exhaust our punyam and papam, we keep on taking birth after birth. That is what is simple, in simple terms, the law of karma. And in our Anubhava, according to Vidyaranya, he says, this Dwaitam, which is caused by Ishwara, see the world which is caused by Ishwara, for example, all the bodies are not created by us, it is created by Ishwara. So in the first half of this chapter, what he has said was, the creation of Ishwara, Ishwara Srishti is not a problem. The problem is Jiva Srishti. And now we are entering into the 43rd verse. It's almost like a new topic in this chapter. From 43rd onwards, we are getting into analyzing the Jiva Srishti, Ishwara Srishti with reference to bondage. Let me now go straight to the 43rd verse, and then we will progress. We'll try to progress a little bit faster today. The reason why I want to progress faster is because these are simple verses with simple meanings. You will all be able to understand that. And the slides are fairly simple. So that's why let us try to go slightly faster. And I will not explain the full slides. I will take the important aspects of these slides so that you get the gist of these mantras. The 43rd verse.
Tam tu shastriyam Dwaitam tu shastriyam Ashastriyamiti dvidha Ashastriyamiti dvidha Upadadita shastriyam Upadadita shastriyam Atatvasya Vabodhanat.
So in this verse, a very simple verse, it's an introductory verse, and it says that the world of duality which is created by Jiva is of two kinds. One, which is called as shastriya Dwaitam. And the second is called as ashastriya Dwaitam. Shastriya Dwaitam is being discussed from 43rd verse till the 48th verse. And here what he is saying is that we should first of all understand there is shastriya, which conforms to the scriptural texts, scriptural injections. That is called as shastriya Dwaitam. I do dharmic activity. That is all shastriya. Ashastriya means I do adharmic activities. He will divide the shastriya Dwaitam into two parts. We'll see that separately as we go across. So the mental world of duality is what is being discussed. Ishwara Srishti is sadhakam, it is not abadhakam. That means it is not, Ishwara Srishti does not go against moksha, attainment of moksha. What is an obstacle for moksha is the Jiva Srishti. The Ishwara Srishti is a help. Sadhakam means it is a sadhanam, it is a means. It will help me to gain moksha. Body is given to us by God. I am the Jiva inside this body. I want freedom from the body. So, the body which has been given to me is a help to me. That is what Vidyaranya said. Shastriyam or shastriyam. Shastriyam is explained by Shastra as a help for Brahma Jnana. To get the Brahma Jnanam, I use my mind, I use the sense organs, I use the scriptures. That is why it is called as helpful. It is not obstacle. What is obstacle? That which is ashastriyam. What is the definition of ashastriyam? Ashastriya means something which will not help me in my pursuit of knowledge. Till we receive the knowledge, we must keep the shastriya Dwaitam going. We should not discard the shastriya Dwaitam. We should discard our focus should be to discard the ashastriya. That is the approach Vidyaranya is taking. How long, if you ask, that is the next verse. So the 43rd verse is very simple.
Atma Brahma Vicharakhyam. Atma Brahma Vicharakhyam. Shastriyam Manasam Jagat. Shastriyam Manasam Jagat. Buddhe Tattve Tachaheyam. Buddhe Tattve Tachaheyam. Iti Shrutyanu Shasanam. Iti Shrutyanu Sasanam.
Here in this mantra, Vidyaranya now it's a slow development of the topic. It is not a flashy development. It is a very slow development in the whole section from 44 to 69. Yeah, it's a slow development. He will just give us one by one a little bit of pointers in every small pointers. He will tell us in every verse. Even while you read this verse itself, you can understand the meaning of this essence of this verse. In this verse, he says that our activities which result in Dvaita experiences, Dvaita means, always remember, subject-object interactions and relationships. So, this duality, which is in confirmation with the scriptures, which is an agreement with the scriptures, should not be renounced in the beginning. Like Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. All this also engage, when we engage in Shravanam or in Mananam or in Nididhyasanam, there is Dwaitam. So he doesn't want us to drop this initially. But then he says, After Brahman is realized, once you have realized your essential nature, which is Brahman, then you drop even the shastriya Dwaitam for a jiva. That means you can drop your samadhis, you can drop your upasanas, you can drop your study. You don't have to do anything in life. Just remain. This is at the end of the shastric study, not at the beginning. Here he is only telling us that both the Dwaitams, shastriya Dwaitam, ashastriya Dwaitam, both have to be given up in the end. Okay? Atma Brahma Vichara. What is the essence of the teaching of Upanishads? If you want to know the essence, the Mimamsakas, Mimamsaka means the science of interpretation of the Veda. They have given us the logic, and that is called as Shad Vida Linga. What is the meaning of this logic? The interpretation of the Veda, whether it is talking about Dwaitam or Advaitam, and what is the reality, is it Dwaitam or Advaitam? The science of interpretation, which is called as the Mimamsa science, Shastram, Mimamsa Shastram, has given a process. And it says you use some technical terms to understand the essence of the teaching. Upakrama, Upasamhara, Abhyasa, Apurvata, Phalam, Arthavada. These are the 6 indicators you use. Upakrama means in the text you try to find out what is said in the beginning and what is said in the end. Upakrama is beginning, Upasamhara is in the end. So, generally in the Upanishads, they will talk in the beginning itself, Brahma Vida Apnoti Param, Tadesham Yuktam, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Taittiriya Upanishad starts like this. The second chapter, the first section, the first mantra. It will tell you, this is what is the essence of the whole teaching. Brahman is the essence of the whole teaching. So, almost in all the Upanishads, Upakrama is to talk about Brahman. What is Upasamhara? Upasamhara means the end. The Upanishad will say, we have taught so far Brahma Vidya. What is the use of Brahma Vidya? The phalam is mentioned. So Upasamhara will also say that it is Brahma Vidya which has been taught. Abhyasa. Abhyasa means what is the essence which is repeated again and again in the Upanishads. Whether you take Keno Upanishad, whether you take any Upanishad, there will be a portion where again and again the Upanishad will say, this is what you wanted to know. This is what you wanted to know. This is what you wanted to know. For example, Chandogya Upanishad says, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi Shvetaketo, Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. So, it is said that 9 times Shvetaketa was taught by Uddalaka, his father, and he said, this is what you wanted to know, and this is what you are. You are Brahman. You are Brahman. You are Brahman. The student wanted to know, where is that Brahman? Where can I look for that Brahman in the world? And the Upanishad says, don't look for Brahman. It is not an object to be experienced. It is the subject which has to be claimed as your real nature. The next point is apurvata, uniqueness. What is a novelty? Is the Upanishad teaching me something new, or is it stating what I already know? Like in PhD, for example, if you want to get a PhD in any topic, you have to show that your research has got the uniqueness. Otherwise, you will not get the PhD. The subject matter of the Upanishad is the subject, the experiencer, the consciousness principle in us. This is the uniqueness of Brahma Vidya. The world of objects is a world of science. That is not the subject matter of Vedanta. That is the uniqueness. The uniqueness is there is no other science which talks about Atma, the self. There is no other text which talks about the self, Atma. For knowing who you are, you have to come to Vedanta, the Upanishads. Phalam, what is the end result? What will that study give me? The study of the subject Atma gives me supreme fulfillment. It gives me joy, happiness. It gives me freedom from limitations. So these are the different indicators which are given by the Mimamsakas. The last one is Arthavada, eulogy, or what is praised in the Upanishads, what is praised again and again. Gita, Bhagavad Gita, in the 15th chapter, the last verse, it says, Iti guhyatamam shastram idamuktam mayanagha etad buddhya buddhimansya krita akritascha bharata. I have taught to you what you should know. And if you understand what I have taught, which is Brahma Vidya in this chapter, the 15th chapter, Lord Krishna says, you have become wise, number one. Number two, you have accomplished all the duties as a jiva. That means you have fulfilled in life. And this knowledge is a secret. Guhyat guhyatamam. Among all the secrets, this knowledge is the most secret, royal secret. So the Upanishad is praising moksha. Bhagavad Gita is praising moksha. Upapatti is the last indicator. Upapatti means what is the logic, reasoning. In the teaching of Upanishad, the Upanishad gives several examples to prove that Brahman is the essential nature of the entire universe. It will ask you to verify. Can you look at your own three states and verify that there is something unique which is outside the three states, which is called as Turiyam Brahma. Shravanam is a logical process for looking at the 6 indicators. Then we do vichara, reflection. Reflection is on God, the creator. The Upanishad teaches us what should be retained and what should be thrown out. If you take a banana, you should eat the fruit and you should remove the peel. You should peel off the skin and throw away. From this universe, you should throw away the skin, which is the 3 prapanchas. Sthula prapancha, Sukshma prapancha, Karana prapancha is the skin. What is the fruit, banana? The fruit banana is Atma. It is Chaitanyam. It is pure existence. And if you are able to, this is what you should consume. This is what Upanishad wants you to focus on. So after doing this analysis of 6 factors, you end up with the final message that the main object of studying the Upanishad is to know that there is a common factor between the Jiva and the creator of the universe. Jivatma and Paramatma are not two different things, but ultimately both of them have a substratum which is called as Brahman. And once you have understood this knowledge, what do? You remove all your old vasanas of I am a Jiva. I am suffering in the world. All that, you remove it by the process of Nididhyasanam. And all these 3 processes, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, all of them, they involve Dwaitam. But the result, what you get is Advaitam. And then, once you get the result, which is the moksha phala, then this Panchadasi says, now you are fit to drop the shastriya Dwaitam. Shastriya Dwaitam teaches us Advaitam. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam is called as shastriya Dwaitam. See how methodically Swami Vidyaranya approaches the topic of moksha, which is what is our central study. Repetition of Brahma Vidya is very important. For example, I told you Tattvamasi is 9 times. In Kathopanishad, there is a, I'm sure most of you have done it. There is a section which always, the verses always ends with Etat Vaitat, Etat Vaitat, Etat Vaitat. Lord Yama is teaching Nachiketa the science of reality, the science of Brahman. And in all those verses, he says, Nachiketa, you wanted to know, who is this? What is beyond death? This is what it is. This is what it is. Almost 20-25 times he mentions this. And he says, Etat Vaitat, Etat Vaitat. This is what you want to know. Therefore, how many times Lord Yamadharmaraja has said this? He could have just said once and then he could have left. But no, he repeats it. Brahma Sutra has got this beautiful adhikaranam. Avrittas kridi upadesa. Avriti means repetition. The repetition of Shravanam, Mananam and meditation, Nididhyasanam on Brahman is required for the fruit of moksha. Okay, so I'm sure you got the essence of this. Iti Shruti Anushasanam. This is what is the command of the scriptures. First, we have to drop a shastriya, then we drop shastriya Dwaitam, and then we get ultimately what is called as moksha. Okay, the next few slides are just a revision of the last 2 verses. Let's go to the 45th verse.
शास्त्राण्यधीत्य मेधावी शास्त्राण्यधीत्य मेधावी अभ्यस्य च पुनः पुनः अभ्यस्य च पुनः पुनः परमं ब्रह्म विज्ञाय परमं ब्रह्म विज्ञाय उल्कावत्तान्यतोत्सृजेत् उल्कावत्तान्यतोत्सृजेत्.
This is again a very simple verse. It says that initially you study the scriptures and repeatedly you study. Don't just say I've studied once, therefore I'm liberated. No. It says very clearly, practice Shravanam again and again. Why is this repetition required? Because the topic is very, very subtle. Do not try to stop with one hearing of the Upanishads. Some people, they say, no, I will just listen to one Upanishad and then I'll stop. They are all losers. The study of scriptures usually takes about 5-6 years minimum. And then you get the gist of what is this Brahma Vidya. You ask anybody who has done Vedanta study. So many texts are available. If you look at my website, you will see so many texts are there and so much of depth is there in this study. Medhavi, who is a wise person? A wise person is a person who has a good memory, who can argue the scriptures. That means he is logically trained. See, logic is something which we are not born with it. You have to understand the logic of the scriptures by the study of the scriptures. Like how we are doing Panchadasi now. This is an extremely logical text. Systematically, Vidyaranya is progressing and he is telling us how I can get moksha, which is promised by the Upanishads. Understanding the scriptures, that is receiving the scriptural knowledge, retaining the scriptural knowledge, and abiding in the scriptural knowledge ultimate. These are three processes. Then only you can say, I am a wise person, I am a jnani. Here, Swami Vidyaranya gives an example. Normally in a forest, when you want to go to the other side of a village and you have a forest to cross, what you do is you light up a flaming torch. These are all done in the villages where you don't have electricity and all that. So you take a kerosene, a cloth dipped in kerosene, and you tie it to a small wooden, you must have seen this in India, and you light it up, and then you take it on the top as a light to cross the forest where there are no street lamps and so on. After reaching your destination, what do? You throw away the torch. This is one example. Another example, which you're all familiar, is the pole vaulter. Everybody knows this. In Vivek Chodamani, this is a very common, very simple example. A pole vaulter will use the pole to go up to that point where the bar is there to cross to the other side. On reaching the top of the bar, what does the pole vaulter do? He drops the pole on the other side and he jumps to the other side. In one side, the pole is dropped. On the other side, he reaches and he crosses. These are two good examples. And if you have understood the example, what it says is use Dwaitam use the scriptures, study the scriptures, be in the Dwaitam. Be in Dwaitam means I am the subject, I am studying the scriptures. The scriptures are the objects, I am the person who is studying it. And this way, when you progress, I am the meditator, I am meditating on Ishwara. This is initially Dwaitam. But in the end, it will say, the Upanishads will say, ultimately drop this Veda. It's going to come now. In the next few verses, it's going to say that. Okay? So in this verse, just the example is given. Amritananda Upanishad has the same message that the wise, having studied the Shastra, should abandon them like a firebrand. This is the verse which Vidyaranya has used in this 45th verse. The fourfold qualifications, Viveka, Vairaga, Shamatha, Shatka, Sampatti, Mumukshutvam, all these are all stepping stones. They make you a qualified aspirant, adhikari. And once you have become a qualified adhikari to study the Upanishads, you go through Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, and then finally give up those three also to abide in your Swarupa. Next verse.
Granthamabhyasya medhavi Granthamabhyasya medhavi Jnana vijnana tatparaha Jnana vijnana tatparaha Palalamiva dhanyarthi Palalamiva dhanyarthi Tyajed granthamaseshatah Tyajed granthamaseshatah.
Same topic, Vidyaranya uses one more example. What is the topic? Give up the shastriya Dwaitam after you have got Brahma Vidya. That is the topic. Later on, he is going to talk about a shastriya Dwaitam from verse number 49 onwards. Here, the example which Vidyaranya is taking is from Amrita Bindu Upanishad. In Amrita Bindu Upanishad, the example taken is of a rice and husk. So what does the farmer do? He will remove the husk and he will retain the rice. Very simple example. So similarly, Swami Vidyaranya says, you know the content of Brahma Vidya as your real essential nature, and then you give up the Shastras. That is the essence of this verse. So Amrita Bindu Upanishad, I have done this Upanishad before, so you might have heard this from me. 18th verse. This is what it says. And with what attitude one should study the Shastra? Study the Shastra not to teach others, not to memorize it, but ultimately to get moksha. Jnanam teham savikyanam idam rakshama sheshatah yajnatva neha bhuyonyat jnatavam vishishyate. See how beautifully Lord Krishna says the same essence, you know. Once you have understood what is all this Upanishad and the texts are trying to teach me, then you can link every verse what you have studied in the past. Bhagavad Gita so beautifully says that I will teach you, don't worry, Arjuna, I will teach you that essence. In the 7th chapter, Lord Krishna is saying, he's in this particular chapter, he's talking about Ishwara Srishti. In the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I will teach you, don't worry. See, the first 6 chapters are all Jiva Srishti of Bhagavad Gita. You see, he's talking about the Jiva was analyzed. The next 6 chapters are chapter 7 to chapter 12, Jiva Ishwara Srishti. And there he says, you learn from me how to analyze this world. I will teach you. And once you get the knowledge, what will happen? There will be nothing more to learn in this world. You will be a fulfilled person. I will give you the jnanam. I will give you the knowledge by which you will get the experience of Vijnanam. You'll get the experience of moksha. Vijnanam is the anubhava janyam. It is the experience of freedom, which you have never experienced in your life before. This freedom which Shastra promises is the freedom which you have been waiting for in every janma. This is not our first birth. We have had several births, and so many different births we want to get out of this sufferings, which is primarily Jiva Srishti. So the knowledge by which I study the Shastra is, I want to get freedom from limitations. It is individual. It is nothing to do with others. Each one of us has this problem of getting identified with the body and mind as the self. This identification is called as bondage. Dropping this identification is freedom. The methodology to drop this identification is get attached to Atma. The moment I get attached to Atma, I get detached from body and mind. That is the principle of Vedanta. Okay, very simple. Remove the husk, keep the rice, eat the rice. Remove the 3 sharirams, remove the 3 avasthas, remove the 5 koshas, retain Atma. And once you have understood what is Atma, always abide in Atma. Next verse.
Tamev vijnaya tameva dhiro vijnaya prajñam kurvita brahmanah prajñam kurvita brahmanah nanudhyayat bahun shabdan nanudhyayat bahun shabdan vacho viglapanam hitat vacho viglapanam hitat.
A wise man, after he has experienced the self, should keep his mind united with the ultimate reality. He should not oppress his mind. That means he should not be tied up with his mind, which are nothing but a waste of energy. See how bold is this statement from Vidyaranya. This is all taken from Upanishad. What he's stating is exactly what is said in the Upanishad. Vedantic Upanishad says, the intelligent man, after attaining that intuitive knowledge of Atma Vidya, he should not waste his energy in speaking. He'll be talking about it in this next verse. In the 48th verse, he will talk about this particular mantra a little bit more detail. Why we should not be wasting in talking, hearing, spelling, and in the Vyavaharika world, he says all that is mithya. All experiences are mithya. They are not satya. Once you've held on to satyam, the reality, which is Atma, which is Brahman, which is the cause of this whole universe, then you will not be motivated to spend energy behind anatma prapancha. That is the essence. Similar line of thinking is in Vivek Chudamani in 3:21, 22, and 23. If you read these verses, you will come to know it is the same message. 3:24, 3:25. All these verses are talking about don't expend your energy on Vyavaharika world as much as possible. Not that you have to completely stop using, nobody can stop it. But once you have attained the Brahma Jnanam, what you have to do is reduce other external activities and abide in Atma. So very simple, energy is required to remain in Atma Vidya. Do not strain your sense organs in other areas. That is the essence of this verse. Next verse.
Tame vijanith tame vaikam vijanith Hyanyavacho vimunjatha Hyanyavacho vimunjatha Yachendvang manasam prajna Yachendvang manasam prajna Ityadhyah shrutayah sputaah Ityadhyah shrutayah sputaah.
This is a continuation of the same idea, as I said in the previous verse. In the 48th verse, he says again, give up, restrain your speech. Give up all other areas of energy where you normally spend your time. Restrain your speech also, because what happens is the moment you get more involved in speech, among all the five sense organs of action, speech is very, very powerful, and it can lead to more and more samsara. Mundaka Upanishad talks us to meditate on this, to cross the shore of mortality to immortality. It says very clearly, reduce your activities. Kathopanishad, very bluntly it says, sink the speech into the mind. That means reduce your speech, do more contemplative exercises. Then it says, reduce the mind to the intellect. That means now you take decisions. What type of decisions? I am not a karta, I am not a bhokta. Then where do you sink your intellect? In the Atman. So step by step, from the speech, go to the mind. From the mind, go to the intellect. From the intellect, you go to Atman. Because intellect cannot function unless it is energized by Atman. That is the teaching. I am the energizing principle behind the intellect. I am the energizing principle behind the entire universe. You should understand this. If you have understood, then you have understood the entire Kathopanishad. Okay, so that is the essence of this verse. The rest of the Brahma Sutra I've already explained to you before. And the essence is reduce your activities so that you can remain ultimately in the state of the being. Ultimately, Upanishads are talking about the state of being, pure Atman, not the Jivatma, not the Paramatma, not the Jagat. You are the ultimate cosmic being, which is called as Brahman. Don't think it is too far away, I can't realize this and all. These are all only words. But when it comes to experience of that, all of us have that experience. But the only thing which we have is the ignorance about what is that Brahman. Okay, so the next now from 49th onwards will be a shastriya jiva srishti. See how methodical this Vidyaranya is, yeah? These are all slides which are talking about the revision of the verses which we have done. These slides. Okay, 45 to 45, these are the slides. You can go through whenever you're doing revision at your own time. 49th verse. 49th verse.
Yamapi Dwaitam Ashastriyamapi Dwaitam Tivram mandamiti dvidha Tivram mandamiti dvidha Kamakrodhadikam tivram Kamakrodhadikam tivram Manorajyam tathetarat Manorajyam tathetarat.
From this verse, Vidyaranya will talk about a shastriya. That means Dwaitam, that means our lifestyle, which is not in conformity with the Shastra. He divides this into two types. One is violent, another is dull. He will explain to us what is this violent and what is dull. Here he is only telling us in a very broad introduction, what is this Ashastriya Dwaitam? And then he will continue in the next 6-7 verses. He will keep telling us, drop this, drop this, drop this, drop this, because it is not going to be beneficial for your Brahma Vidya. What is the two broad classifications of Ashastriya Dwaitam? Number one which is violent. Violent means what? It will harm me. What are the Dwaitams which will harm me? Whenever I have lust, anger, passions in life, rajoguna activities, those are all which should be dropped immediately. And what is the second type of Ashastriya Dwaitam? A little bit less milder. It is daydreaming, which he calls it as dull type. See how Vidyaranya is analyzing our mindset. If you want to analyze your mind, the best place to study is Panchadasi. Psychology. It's all about the human mind. Every chapter, there is no other text in which goes into such a big depth. So you have understood? Very clear. The one which should be given up immediately is the six enemies of man according to Bhagavad Gita. Kama, Krodha, Moha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya. That is what is called as the very harmful activities which are all in Dwaitam. Reduce that, completely give it up. And also the daydreaming. Daydreaming means just imagining, oh, what will happen to me? Why did this happen to me? And what will happen to me in future? Anxiety of the future and regrets of the past. So both these we need to give up. Dwaitam, the seer-seen duality. Yeah. The Manda Dwaitam is dull, weak. That is the imaginations. Whereas the Tivra Dwaitam, which is very troublesome for me, very strong. It causes ashanti, it causes chinta, worry, bhaya, fear. It causes anxiety. That is why it is called as Tivra Dwaitam. Kama, Krodha, Lobha and all is mentioned here. And these are the immediate causes of sorrow and pain. So this Dwaitam, the six inner enemies, are our enemies which will spoil our inner mind, which is, it will make our mind flustered, perturbed. The six waves of sorrow, which is coming into our intellect, the Vivek Chodamani again, 256 verse, is a similar meaning. Shad Urmis, Kama, desire. If it is fulfilled, what happens? It is like fire. It will lead to Lobha. See how the connection is between the six of them. How is the connection? You will see here beautifully explained. Desire, if it is fulfilled, it will lead to Lobha. Kama leads to Lobha. If it is Kama is not fulfilled, it leads to Krodha. Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Three are taken up care of just by looking at analysis of the desire. Then you come to Mada and Matsarya. What happens with Mada and Matsarya? They are all under the umbrella of Lobha. If the greed is fulfilled, you will feel that, oh, I am very great. Pride will come. Mada will come. And if greed is not fulfilled, it will lead to jealousy. You become jealous because I haven't got that thing which I wanted, but the other person has got it. Okay? Bhagavad Gita has this beautiful verses which talk about the fall of a man. 62 to another, 4 or 5 verses are there. Dhyayato vishayan pumsan sangashreyasu upajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kama krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammoha smriti vibramaha smriti bramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat dinashyati. This is just a revision. Most of you know the meaning of these two verses. So, how to conquer the negative forces in the mind is by Atma Jnana. That is the positive force which will take you to reality. In all these verses, Vidyaranya will say, drop all these 6 inner enemies of our own self. Today I am attached to this, drop it, and then this will help you in our Brahma Vidya. With this, I will stop here. Totally, there are 69 verses. We have finished 49. There are 20 more verses for this chapter. Today will be our last session before we close for a break because next Wednesday I'm leaving Singapore. I won't be having a session. 23rd onwards, 23rd November till the 3rd of January. On the 4th of January will be our next session. Generally, I have found I'm back in Singapore on the 21st of December. Technically, I can have a class on the 21st or the 28th, but then I thought, let's miss these two, 21st and 28th. I took a survey of the Saturday class people. They suggested that it's better to not to have sessions during the last week of the year. So I'm continuing the same practice. For Saturday classes, I've told them I'm going to have their next session will be on the 7th of January. For the Wednesday sessions, it will be on the 4th of January. Okay, we will start with this verse number 50. Within 4 or 5 sessions, these 20 verses I will finish. And then we will start the new chapter, which is chapter number 5. Chapter number 5 is on Mahavakya. Very, very important chapter in the whole Panchadasi. In the 15 chapters, Mahavakya portion is very important and it is dealt in the 5th chapter. Very short word, chapter of about 8 verses. And that will be the focus. After we finished, sometime in February middle, we'll start the chapter 5. But I will give you the dates. The 4th of January, for your information, will be our next class. For those of you who are interested to ask and to have some sessions, one-to-one sessions, I can arrange if you contact me through WhatsApp in vedantastudents@gmail.com. After the 23rd of December till the 3rd of December, 23rd December till the 3rd of January. I will be in Singapore. I will have some time to talk to you. If you have any personal issues on how on the study of Vedanta, you can contact me. I will arrange a one-to-one session. Okay. So with that, we close for the Panchadasi session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudacchade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. There are no questions on the chat box. So if you have any questions, you can ask them now. Unmute yourself and you can ask. Any questions on today's session or in general about any specific doubts?
Hari Om, sir.
Yeah, Ajita, go ahead.
Yeah. Today we have discussed that this thoughts are jada.
Correct.
Yeah. When we are seeing with our eyes, we see different objects.
Yes.
These eyes are also jada if there is no consciousness.
Correct. That is why a dead body cannot see anything.
Yeah, dead body cannot see anything, but people are all the seekers who is on the spiritual path, They have to identify that all the sense organs are functioning only because of the consciousness.
That's correct.
Yeah, and when we are aware of this, how we can distinguish consciousness with this reflected, this is all reflections. Our eye is reflecting with the consciousness, that is why we are able to see.
Correct.
Our mind is reflecting with the consciousness, that is why we are, thoughts are coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, how we can distinguish or how we can make it in an equilibrium? Can you be kind to explain that?
Yeah, very good question, Majita. Very beautiful question. See, the starting point, you should not look at the body or mind or the waking state.
Yeah.
You should start from consciousness. Many people, they are not able to understand reflection and original phase, mainly because they are starting from the waking state.
Okay.
So the first thing you tell your mind in the seat of meditation is, I am of the nature of pure consciousness. First lesson in Vedanta. The second lesson in Vedanta is that screen becomes the starting point of consciousness in which there is no world. There is no body, there is no mind, and there is no world. That is the original phase. Now, when the waking state comes, be very careful what I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
When the waking state comes, it is a reflection, the starting point of the reflection.
Yes.
Now, that reflection comes first of the consciousness, it reflects in the mind first. Our mind is like the mirror.
Okay.
Exactly like you see the mirror outside, and then you see your face. Similarly, mind is the mirror. I, the pure consciousness, without the body, without the mind, is now seeing the mind. And that mind starts having thoughts. Thoughts are objects in the mind.
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing you should, that's why I said, how to understand this reflection, how to understand this reflected consciousness and all that is very easy if you start yourself as the pure consciousness without anything in the universe. I am a pure being. To remain as a pure being, which is my swarupam, which is my nature, in which I am always there. I'm always there. That should be the starting point, and you should be convinced on that. Because the Veda is teaching me this. The Upanishad is teaching me that I am a pure being. A pure being means it is not with reference to a particular mind. It is not with reference to a particular body. It is not with reference to the world. That pure being, Atma, should be first known, acknowledged, and claimed.
Yes.
Then comes the world. The moment you see the world, you see your room, you see the, where you are, the moment your mind wakes up, the mind is the object of consciousness. It is a consciousness. The mind is a reflecting material. I am the pure consciousness. I am the one which is waking up the mind. It is making the mind active.
Yes.
The moment the mind is active, that is what is called, in the mind, what is there? My reflection is there. because I am the consciousness. There is no mind in the entire universe which can function without the consciousness. No mind. How do I know this? Veda. Dakshinamurti Stotram tells me this. When I study Dakshinamurti Stotram, it tells me that I am the enlivening factor, the consciousness factor, which is enlivening the mind. So the reflecting material is the mind. And that mind is subtle in nature, very, very fine. It is caused by these subtle elements. The product called as the, you see, nobody has seen the mind.
Yes.
But what is the mind material? It is the same Panchabhutas, but not in the gross water form, not in the gross air form, not in the gross fire form, but before grossification, they were subtle in nature, and that constitutes the mind. So, reflecting medium is the mind. I, the consciousness, am getting reflected. I am the one which is energizing it. And then the Jiva Bhava will come. I am Ajita. I am staying in Cochin. I am staying in India. I am staying in London. I am staying in America. I am staying in Singapore. I am staying in China. All that is a reflection. The pure consciousness is all a pure being. That is what is Ram Kumar. That is what is Jacqueline. That is what is Muralidharan. That is Ganesh. That is Sumana. That is what is the real being. I have missed the real being, and I'm thinking that the Jiva which is there inside that body, experiencing the world, is my real nature. That is what I have to drop. So far, I've been thinking I am this body, and I am experiencing the world. I'm experiencing all these thoughts, and these thoughts are really, really, really disturbing me. So, understanding the principle of consciousness, which is Atma, and understanding what is Anatma, which is mind, body, sense organs, world. World is only coming into the mind. Whenever the mind is awake only, the world comes. In sleep, there is no mind, there is no world. For everybody, whether you live in China, whether you live in Japan, whether you live in America, whether you live wherever you live, for you, you are still there. You see, nobody will say that I am not there in sleep. We all feel that, yes, I'm there. I'm always there. There is no break in my being. There is a break in my thoughts. This fact you should register in your mind. As awareness, I am always there. As a Jiva, an individual being, I am sometimes there, sometimes not there. In the Jagrata Avastha, I am there. In the Swapna Avastha, this Jiva as Ajita is not there.
Yes.
Some other, experiencer comes in.
Yes.
And in the Sushupti Avastha, both Ajita, the waker, and the dreamer, Ajita both are not gone to sleep. What exists is the pure being. The pure being is called as Turiyam Atma. Turiyam is the name given to the Atma in Mandukya Upanishad. So what is the common name for all of us? It is being, pure Atma. That is why we say you are Atma, I am Atma. Everybody is an Atma. The name Ajita or Sumana or Akshay or Lalita is given only for transactional purposes. The name is not given to Atma, it is given to the body. To identify the body, a name is given. A particular form, a name is given. For transactional purpose. Suppose you want to travel to America tomorrow, you cannot say I am Atma, I'm formless, your passport is required. Passport requires body. Body means you require a name, you require a date of birth. It's all with reference to the body. So for the transactions, be a jiva. But to know who you are, come to the Veda, clearly understand, I am the Atma. Okay? That is how you live life of a Jivan Mukta. Free. Always I am free. No fear in me. Why no fear? I'm not the body. Body will die. I don't care. I am the pure being. You see, that is why this meditation which I did today is a very important meditation. You must repeat this meditation many times and tell yourself, I am a pure being. I am not the jiva. The jiva is suffering. The jiva has got a body. Jiva has got a mind. But the Atma, the pure being, is always blissful. I know this fact. It is a fact of this universe. That is what the Upanishad wants to teach me and to make me feel free. Okay, good. Good question. Anybody else has a question? Yeah, Chandra.
I feel that we have to separate ourselves from the jiva and our truth self, isn't it? Separate.
Yes, very important step in meditation is, this is what you try to do in meditation. Don't try to say, I've got thoughts and I know it's all becoming a problem for me, and therefore I will not meditate. In meditation, you have to say, I am a pure being. I am not the jiva. I'm not the jiva. What is the definition of a jiva? The definition of jiva is always with reference to the body and mind.
Yeah, that is for the transactional world.
Yeah, it's for the transactional world. It's okay, it doesn't matter. But I am a pure being. I am Atma. Repeat it 100 times in your. See what will happen to you if you have been very careful and if you have done the meditation today the way I wanted you to do it. When you chant Om at the end of the meditation, you will find your mind is automatically saying, I am a pure being, I am not the jiva.
But I always feel I have the awareness.
Yes, you see, the mind learns to understand that it is not the mind, but it is ultimately it is the pure awareness.
Oh, correct.
The mind, it is this mind which is troubling me. The moment it understands it doesn't have any existence, which is what is called as mithya. You see, ultimately we say in Vedanta, we say mithya, mithya, mithya. What is mithya? Mithya is this mind which is troubling me, which puts all types of thoughts in me. You're suffering here. The mind is full of thoughts throughout the day, and it is a trick of the mind. You see, this is what is called as the power, the shakti of Maya. For each one, you have a different mind. You are experiencing a different world in your mental arena. So your question is, always try to differentiate the awareness principle from the mind.
Yes, correct. Thank
And
you.
once you have learned to do it, it is a process of learning. It is like driving. You learn to drive the car automatically, then you pick up a car, you open the car and you press your button and then it starts driving. Similarly, the moment you sit in meditation, immediately you will come to know, I am the awareness principle, I am not the mind. Let the mind think anything, but after some time, mind will stop thinking and you will just purely rest as a pure being.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Very good. Anybody else has any other question?
Shekharji,
Yeah, Ram Kumar.
to ask you a question regarding that. Once you are, once you get the knowledge, you said that you should not discuss with anybody.
You should not?
We should not discuss with anybody the knowledge.
You see, don't take it very literally. What it means is reduce your speech, reduce your interactions in the world. That's all.
Yeah. Because
No, it is not saying that you completely stop talking and just go into Mananam and all that,
No. What I want to ask you is, suppose I want to discuss knowledge with somebody, like a satsang, I have a person.
Yeah, that is all allowed, because in that what you are doing is you're sharing knowledge. You have doubts, you have that is what is called as Mananam.
So I can share knowledge with
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. See, all Shankaracharya, after getting the knowledge, he shared with so many people. Every Acharya, the moment he gets the knowledge, he has a natural tendency. It is a natural phenomena.
Okay.
For you, you will feel, I want to, I have got so much of joy from this Vedanta. I don't know how it comes, how I feel happy attending classes. I don't know, but I want to attend every Wednesday. This joy you get, it is an internal joy. It is not externally. You can't explain this joy to somebody. So it is an internal bliss which is expressing, and you want to share this knowledge. It is very good. Go ahead and share it. Go and discuss this. If you have questions on Vedanta, discuss openly. No problem. Satsang and all is beautiful.
And
yeah.
And Shekharji, after learning the knowledge, how to drop it up? Because that is a very big thing,
Don't worry about it. You are in the path of spiritual knowledge. What happens is, this dropping is a natural process. It will happen. The moment I gave you the example of a pole vaulter. The pole vaulter, the moment he reaches the top of the pole, what happens immediately? He's not doing out of will and all that. He's not thinking, should I drop the pole or not drop the pole and all that. Automatically he'll drop and then he'll go to the other side. So similarly, the moment see, what happens is, this knowledge of Atma is a very powerful knowledge. And the moment the mind gets a glimpse of that Atma will absorb that mind completely. Completely it will absorb, and it will give the experience, the fulfillment of the knowledge. Once the ignorance goes away, there is only Atma. That's it. There is nothing else except Atma. All the Vedantic knowledge, in a flash, it'll come to you, and you'll not be bothered at all. You will feel very blissful, very, very happy with yourself. And at the same time, the world will not disturb you. World will not at all disturb you, because you have known the nature of Atma and the nature of the world. See, technically, this ignorance is the bottleneck. Ignorance is something, the moment it goes away, this wheeling the wheeling nature which is there, once that is gone, the Vikshepa Shakti will not bother you. That disturbances in the mind, oh, you will say, okay, fine, today I had this disturbances and I'm not bothered. So the impact, the study will help you to drop, it is like a shock absorber. It will absorb all the shocks which you get from the world because of the study. So your question is how to drop that your question is going to be analyzed in the next 2-3 mantras only. Okay. Vidyaranya himself in the 51st or 52nd mantra, he asked this question, at what time, when do I drop this shastric Dwaitam? He himself will say, the time when it comes, it will happen. When the Brahma Vidya comes in, see, Brahma Vidya is a very powerful light, which is the light of all lights. It is the light by which the seed of the mind gets roasted. It's all this will come in the next few verses. This is how you see what happens is the entire pressure on a jiva to take birth after birth after birth, that is because of the pressure of the punya papams, of all the sanchita karmas. This is how it is explained in the Veda. And you can even experience it. You see, whenever you experience a day, for example, you ultimately, if you analyze, you'll say, today I had a good day, I had a happy day. So ultimately, it is punyam and papam which is working. It is indirectly working in the mind. So much what they say is, all your sanchita is burned, your agami karma will not be coming in the future, and that is what is called as the Jivan Mukta state, where you just allow your body and mind to go through the motion of life. You are a Jivan Mukta. The moment you realize I am Atma, and in your mind, you get convinced of this fact, yeah? It's very important that your mind should say, I am Atma. That is why I said this meditation helps a lot. It helps you to go deep inside your subconscious mind. See, the conscious mind is always working in the outside world. It always has got a tendency to go outside. This is a natural phenomenon. What do I want to do today? After the class, I want to do this, I want to do that. I've got this work, I've got to call this person. See, these are all external activities. This is the natural process of the human mind. This natural process, I'm trying to reverse it. I'm trying to make that mind go in deep within itself and ask the question, what is this mind? Who are you? You get that answer. The moment you get the answer, I am that consciousness which is now appearing as this mind. Pure consciousness is only appearing as this mind. And when the mind is there, the body is seen. These are all the phenomena of the world. The moment the mind comes in, you see the body and you see the world. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? So I wish you all a very, very long holiday, about 4 to 6 weeks of holidays now. But in case you want to revise any of this, you can go through the same chapter 4 one more time on your own, at your own study. You want to do your own self-study. Or if you want to take up some text for study in the next 6 weeks, you can get personally in touch with me. I can guide you. So I will see you all with the Panchadasi chapter 4 on the 4th of January. And till then,
The real holiday is when we are attending the class.
Sorry?
The real holiday is when we are attending the class.
Oh, okay. That's good. Nice to hear that. Anyway, we also have other activities of the world. I wish you good luck. And anyway, we'll have the classes. We'll begin the classes on the 4th of January. But keep Vedanta as a part and parcel of your life of learning. Don't give up on learning. Keep listening and listening. Shravanam, Shravanam, Shravanam. Each one of you you organize your own program, you know, and then continue the study, be in line, and then what you will find is this is a growth. It is a spiritual growth. It's a very beautiful journey, and let it take its own shape, but be on the path. Don't give up the path. Keep reading something, listening something, chanting something, meditating something, then you are on the path.
Mr. Shekhar, have a good trip.
Okay, thank you, Jacqueline.
We'll see you on Saturday, but have a good trip. Enjoy.
Okay, so anyway, Saturday I still have this class, next class. And okay, thank you and good night.
Yep.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Have a nice time for you.
Thank you.